Hey guys, Justin here, and as you can probably imagine from the title of this video, this isn't going to be one of our usual videos. And no, I promise this isn't a YouTuber apology video, and no, there isn't a scandal here at Robeytech. In fact, this is just a conversation about something we've been talking about internally for 2 years, so if you want to minimize this and just listen, there's not going to be a lot graphically going on, but if my face makes you happy, then feel free to just keep it open. So we've actually been talking about making this video for a couple of years, and it just kept getting pushed back because of urgent projects or product releases that kept piling up, and frankly, we've been growing really quickly. But the reason we carved out the time to do this now is actually you guys. A few weeks ago, we released our top 5 best AIO coolers of 2025 video. While that video received a lot of positive responses and it's doing really well, there were quite a number of you who were very vocal about some things that we really should have addressed sooner. One of the comments reads specifically, "Look, I understand, me, Robeytech, the appeal of doing sponsored content, but you don't think it's important to make some content that isn't sponsored to avoid the perception of bias. Most of the stuff on this channel, and this is the main Robeytech channel, is sponsored and it's clearly working for you, but man, it's a challenge to trust the outcome because it simply seems to be one big advertisement." At first, this comment, it actually kind of confused us because at that point, we had kind of looked back at the 40 videos we'd uploaded before this one, and only 2 of them had been fully sponsored. However, given the amount of discussion and the replies that it generated, it was clear to us that it wasn't really just some random trolling content. This concern was very much genuine. After thinking about it for a couple of weeks, we came to a few conclusions. The first being that honestly, we've never clearly outlined our goals and philosophies around the content we're making, and in the absence of that information, it's kind of easy to fill in the blanks. Obviously, as the face of the channel, I know what I want our videos to embody and the tone that I actually want to set, but I just can't assume that everyone watching one of those videos actually knows that. So with that in mind, we thought it would be good to remove any disconnects between what our goals are and what you guys are interpreting from our delivery. So the second thing we realized is that if there is confusion, we haven't really done a good enough job communicating what constitutes sponsored versus unsponsored videos. As independent reviewers, it's our goal to not only avoid conflicts of interest, but also to avoid the perception of a conflict of interest within our content. If one of our videos feels too much like an ad, then that's on us to be clearer about what actually goes into the video behind the scenes. So these are the goals of this video today, to hopefully help you guys understand why we make the videos that we do and to clear up details about how we handle our sponsorships and business relationships for the sake of transparency. Essentially, we're going to do a pseudo code of ethics with this video. 2 quick things before we start. 1, as you can tell, this video is going to be very talking head style of video, so feel free to put this on background or just listen to it. And 2, this video is only possible because of the feedback you guys leave for us. We're not just screaming into the void with every upload, we are making this content for you. So I mean this with all sincerity. Thank you for your comments, both the positive and the negative. We don't delete any of them. I read most of them and I try very hard to respond to as many as I can. And constructive criticism like this is what helps us make better content for you. So let's back this up a minute. There are 2 really important questions this entire conversation hinges on. And if we can't answer these 2 things for you, we've completely lost the plot. Number 1, what is it that we actually do here at Robeytech? Or to ask it another way, what is our purpose and why do we do what we do? And number 2, what does that actually look like? Or what is our mission and how do we practically operate out of that purpose? So for starters, Robeytech exists to discover information about all things tech. Not just PC building, but gaming, mobile, VR, Sims, anything in order to create engaging content around those discoveries that educate and entertain, while staying true to who we are as people. If you haven't been on the journey with me from the beginning, Robeytech started as a show called Power Builds over on Microsoft's long-dead streaming platform Mixer. Power Builds was a show dedicated to teaching people how to build PCs, and through it, I discovered a love for helping people demystify the process of PC builds. And that had a snowball effect leading to product reviews and live streams and the establishment of Robeytech as a team and not just a person. And if it wasn't clear so far, the people that make up Robeytech are tech and gaming enthusiasts who not only love digging into data and discovering new things about tech, they also love the stories and the people behind the tech itself. This is part of the reason why our videos are more scripted and less shoot from the hip. Within each video, we're bringing all of our collective voices and perspectives together, so when you get a video, whether it's a review, a guide, or first look, you're getting the Robeytech's team's observations and opinions. Not only that, you're also getting a far more focused Robey. But on top of all that, as we do all of this, there is that last part of our purpose, and that's that whole being true to who we are as people thing. Even though the Robeytech team is full of people with varying opinions, experiences, and expertise, we all share the core value of bringing positivity and optimism into the tech space. There is a lot to enjoy with this hobby at every level, which inspires perspectives that we share in our videos, like things like there is no one-size-fits-all tech solution, or only you can decide value for you. And we try hard to reflect these sentiments both on screen and off. We know that everyone values different things when it comes to PC building and tech and gaming, whether it be raw performance or flashy RGB lighting, and we do our best to figure out which products might be best for the different types of people, rather than just outright dumpstering products that don't fit a good single use case. A good example of this is our 50 series GPU coverage. We know that to the majority of people in the YouTube space that the cards have been pretty disappointing from the raw performance perspective. But even if the majority of people aren't happy with things like frame generation, we still want to provide the best information we can to help people out who actually might be excited about it. Even if it isn't a ton of people, it doesn't do them any good if we don't acknowledge their existence, and enjoying an unpopular feature doesn't make them any less of a PC enthusiast. That being said, this positivity and optimism doesn't just extend to products, it extends to people too, even people with corporate affiliations. Now, don't mishear me. Those relationships never trump our honesty, nor do we ever sacrifice honesty when we're sharing observations or opinions in videos. We do, however, try to have conversations behind the scenes when something goes wrong, or we discover issues. The way we figure this is, it's far better to seek understanding and find solutions than attribute malice or shine lights on things that we might be ignorant about. It's Golden Rule 101, to treat people with dignity that we would want to be treated with as well. Not only that, positive relationships create spaces for open and honest conversations to happen and to actually make change. We know that this might be firing off red flags in some of your heads, but we really believe that it's a win-win for both consumers and manufacturers when we allow this dialogue to stay open and we're able to provide insights to both parties. Even so, we do have firm boundaries in place to keep the lines from getting too blurred and to maintain our own voice. Believe it or not, we have and will always say no to things that would chip away at our integrity. So that's one piece of the puzzle, the who we are, what we do, and why we do it. But let's talk about how we handle communication both with sponsorships and within our team. Earlier we said that out of our sampling of 40 videos, only 2 of them had actually been fully sponsored. But what does that actually mean? Is there a difference between fully sponsored and other types of sponsorships? And that's a good question, and actually yes, there is a difference. Internally, we categorize sponsorships into 3 different groups. We got retail sample products, fully sponsored videos, and integrated ads. Let's cover the integrated ads first, since they're the most straightforward. If you regularly watch any tech YouTuber, this should sound pretty familiar. There are short 30 to 60 second ads that are built into videos that companies directly pay for. We have some guidelines around these, starting with where in the video you'll actually see them. In normal videos, we'll place them near the intro and the outro section of the video, and in live streams, we place them right before we turn on the PC. It's really to make sure that you know exactly where an ad is and when it's coming. Also, we only run integrated ads for products we actually endorse. You'll actually see this, and I don't know if you've noticed, a little red bar at the bottom of the screen to let you know that you're watching an ad, and it also shows you the duration left of the actual ad runtime. At this point, most people are pretty used to seeing these in YouTube videos, but our main concern is making sure we're not endorsing a product we don't actually use, and ensuring the ad isn't too disruptive to the actual viewer. Next up, there's fully sponsored videos. And when we've referred to a video as sponsored in the past, this is usually what we're talking about. We have a lot more guidelines when it comes to these types of videos, as there's a lot more to consider in a full video versus just a 30-second ad. First off, similar to our guidelines and integrated ads, we'll only do sponsored videos on products we actually endorse. Additionally, fully sponsored videos will focus on objective information about a product and its features rather than focusing on our opinions and recommendations. That means that while we might show test data for the product, we won't show comparative data metrics between that and other similar products. So usually, with sponsored videos, we'll also have representatives from sponsoring companies oversee certain aspects of video production. For example, a partnering company might pitch informational additions to scripts or request additional product visuals in the editing stage. The 2 keywords here are requesting and additions. if we had to make guesstimates of how often this actually happens, I'd put it at around 10 to 15% of the time. And usually those changes are very small things. But just to be clear, we do not allow any partner to have full control of our writing or editing, period. So one thing that we've decided to start doing to distinguish these videos from our independent uploads is to start within the first 30 to 60 seconds, a note that says this video is sponsored by blank, and then letting it play out like normal afterwards. We're still going to include lines in these videos disclosing the sponsorship. Not only do we have to do this legally, but we also want to note at the beginning that will just make it more transparent earlier on without being disruptive. Finally, let's talk about retail sample products. This is a unique segmentation compared to the other two. From a certain point of view, you could call it a sponsorship because we are receiving something in good faith that will put something in front of you because of it. But I want to be clear, at the same time, we're absolutely not obligated to. We could debate whether or not this counts as a sponsorship, but overall, this is how we look at it. Sometimes companies will reach out and offer to send us a product free of charge in hopes that we'll review it, feature it on a live stream, or talk about it on social media. Sometimes there is an obligation to send the product back, and sometimes they will let us keep the product for future comparisons. Either way, I want to be clear, we never have a contractual obligation to review a product, nor will we ever allow the company to see any part of the script or video if we decide to do a review on the product. We also don't withhold our opinions in these videos, and we will provide comparative data to other similar products. These videos typically end with our data and experience-driven feedback on who could either benefit from the product in a review or who should avoid it and why. This contrasts directly with the other forms of video content, given that in those videos there is an implied endorsement of the product. Essentially, outside of disclosure about how we receive the product, videos about these products will be formatted virtually identically to our standard independent reviews, and we consider these videos within the same category as those ones. So, here's the important question. Does receiving a product free of charge introduce bias into a review? Well, sure it does. You'd feel very differently about a product you spent your hard-earned cash on versus one that was just sent to you. In other words, let's say, for instance, you spent $2,000 on a new laptop that suddenly black screened or blue screened while trying to run Cyberpunk 2077 at max settings. That $2,000 price tag is going to sting a lot more than it was if you were getting it for free. Despite this though, we don't actually allow that bias to create changes in segmentations of our videos. And we make every effort possible to maintain fair criticism of a product, even if we received it free of charge. And if that happens, and it absolutely has, when it's in the review process, we call each other out and we make sure it's changed before it gets out to you. I guess you could say it like this. It's like Schrodinger's cat, except for this time it's a sponsorship. It's simultaneously existing in two states of being. It's both sponsored and not sponsored. Because technically we communicate with a company to receive the product, this unique privilege puts us in a category, or puts the video in a category of sponsored. However, this act doesn't introduce a significant enough bias for us to alter our independent judgment, thus not a sponsorship. It leans way more towards not being sponsored, which is why we don't refer to these types of videos as sponsored videos. And let's be honest, when you look at Linus, Gamers Nexus, any one of these guys, especially with us getting early access to GPUs, laptops, all those sort of things, we can't buy them. And in order to have that data at launch, this is not outside of the normal for this type of video. That being said though, moving forward, we're going to include a graphic similar to the fully sponsored videos just so you know that the circumstances behind how we got the retail sample is part of the review. Now, to be clear, we have reviewed plenty of retail samples that have had significant design flaws, which frankly tarnished our opinions of the product, and we absolutely discuss these issues in our reviews. Sometimes, just like the Arctic liquid freezer, to the detriment of the video because our opinion was counter to a lot of others. Yet we were still positive. But this is our commitment to you, that we will always tell you how it is in our independent reviews, positive or negative, and we'll try to we will be positive in terms of our approach, but we will absolutely put the negatives when it's necessary. Also, know that we will always take price into consideration for our reviews, even when we receive the products for free. We've seen expensive products perform poorly and cheap products absolutely shine. We've also seen places where you really do get what you pay for. Since PC gaming is built upon the idea of budget options after all, we understand that price is super important for the majority of you guys watching, and we always try to present price comparisons as well as pros and cons at a specific price point while leaving doors open for you, yes, you, to actually decide. Okay, so that was a pretty lengthy explanation of our sponsor policies, but we didn't want to leave anything off the table for the sake of transparency. As we start to wrap things up, Also, in the name of transparency, we'll outline our policies when it comes to how our production team operates. We've alluded to some of these policies earlier in the video, but we wanted to re-emphasize the most important ones together in this section so it's easy to see it all back to back. Now, this isn't going to be New York Times level of expansive, but we've done our best to cover most of the bases. But if there's something crucial that we missed, absolutely let us know. Number 1, as a team, Robeytech exists to provide helpful and digestible independent information to help PC builders of every denomination. This leads back to our philosophy of there is no one-size-fits-all tech solution. Everybody values different things, and we want to ensure that every piece of content we make has positive values for somebody rather than just harboring negativity. Number 2, we won't ever make blanket statements telling viewers to buy or to not buy a product. Rather, we want to provide recommendations for who products might be best for and let the viewers decide that for themselves. We want to foster discussion around the products we review, and in our opinion, blanket statements can lead to echo chambers favoring one perspective, which goes against the goal. Number 3, sponsored content is a financial necessity for us to continue to make the videos we do, but we are committed to ensuring that it never takes control of our channel. Remember that our goal is to make sponsored content easily identifiable and transparent. We don't ever intend to have the majority of our content be sponsored, but when it comes to you guys, you should know all of that right from the start. Number 4, all of our sponsored policies are applied indiscriminately to every company we work with, regardless of our history with said company. We worked a lot with AMD in 2023, we work a lot with Intel in 2024, and you know what? It's just pretty straightforward. We will not change because of who those companies are. Number 5, both independent reviews and retail sample products we review are independent as the title suggests, meaning external third parties will never have access to our scripts or video drafts. Fully sponsored videos will have scripts and drafts viewable by third parties to request additions, but they will never be written or edited by them, and we still have the right to refuse to put things in if we feel like it takes or covers a line that we're not okay with. Normally, it's a little redundant to clarify our reviews with a statement like this, but because we do take fully sponsored videos, we want to make it clear that our content is created in our own words. Number 6, receiving retail sample products does not guarantee review coverage to any third party sending us the products. The choice to review a product is always in our hands, and if we do review the product, it is our goal to remain impartial. Let's elaborate on this a little bit more. We do know the reason that companies send out retail samples is to make creators feel obligated to review a product. But we get sent a lot of stuff, and it's a big part of our process to decide what's worth making a video on and what isn't. If we choose to review a product, it's because we think there is something worthwhile to be said about it, full stop. Number 7, as a team with coming up on 18 people, we aim to have open and healthy communication channels with companies who manufacture products we actually review. But we have no obligation to these companies to publish any information or statements they provide us with for any reasons. When we do actually choose to include the information that the third party tells us into a video, it's because we think that there's a benefit to the consumer to share that information. We're not going to parrot whatever we're told if we don't think it's actually useful. Number 8, Robeytech is a collaborative effort, and each person in every part of our production will be held to those standards. Again, straightforward, though it may be pretty surprising to you guys that we can have 5 or even 10 people working on different parts of every single video. Everyone has to be on the same page in order for us to prevent issues. And finally, for number 9, if we fail to uphold these standards, we will always take appropriate action to amend the issue, whether that be leaving correction notes in the description of videos, re-editing sections of a video, or even taking a video down. Guys, we are human. We absolutely make mistakes. We've been trying to do this full time now for 3-4 years. I mean, it's finally when we decided to make this our full-time job, and there is a lot to learn and a lot to consume. And yeah, I'm okay with saying, hey, sometimes we're wrong. But if you just need an example of this, well, you're watching it right now. But seriously, we'll always do our best to make amends when we mess up. As we said earlier, this is a list of policies. It isn't all-encompassing, nor is it final, but it's something we've put a lot of thought into. As we wrap this up, we believe that there's always room for improvement, and sometimes our humanity shows more than we'd like it to. Sometimes we don't have the best judgment and we make mistakes, but we aim to do our best to make up for those errors. As cliche and corny as it sounds, I'm really proud of what we're actually doing here. And I love trying to be a positive voice that helps try and just give you the information you need to make the best decision on whatever it is in our videos that you're trying to learn. We're always working to make the best, most engaging videos we can for you guys. And we actually couldn't be happier that we've built a community who isn't afraid to actually voice criticism when there's a clear disconnect. I really hope that we've been able to provide clear insight into how we operate, and we're going to do our best to maintain this transparency in the future. We've been able to do this for as long as we have thanks to all of your support, and hopefully we can continue to entertain you with dad jokes and reviews and everything else really awesome for years to come. If there's anything we didn't cover in this video and you think there needs to be more clarification, please let us know down in the comments below. We'll continue to check up on all of these and answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is Justin signing out, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on future videos here on Robeytech.